Mariah Huck looked at Carlos King and said, I am the first African-American woman to create, star in, and executive produce a reality show on Bravo. Miss Mariah just put it down for the 678. Well, I think for her it's the 470, but let's chit chat. Even without the casting, Mariah will always be married to medicine. She sat up there with Carlos King inside of Sleep, which is located across the street from the McDonough courthouse, inside of a building that was purchased for her by her husband after he asked her, what type of trip do you want for your birthday? And baby girl said, no, buy me this building. Honestly, this is epic for Mariah, because if something like this existed in McDonough when I was in McDonough, ironically, I've only had one accident in my life, and it happened across the street from the courthouse in McDonough. But if this was in McDonough when I was in McDonough, y'all would have been new me. I'm not here to judge you, but we have been telling Mariah's story wrong. Okay, so before the show was called Married to Medicine, it was called Doctors Wives Club, and it was picked up by TLC. Mariah conceptualized the show, cast the show, and then created the pitches for the network to consider. I thought that Bravo's audience would go better with Doctors Wives Club, so she went on to allow Bravo to pick up the show, and that is where it became known as Married to Medicine. So she didn't name it Married to Medicine, she created Doctors Wives Club, which then they named Married to Medicine. We need to tell her story correctly. The whole episode was honestly just tea giving, but come back, I want to do part 2, and I want to talk about how Mariah talks about Quad, Toya, and Dr. Simone. Mariah done told Carlos he need to be clear about what type of flowers he's giving to certain people, because all the girls, baby, can't get a flower. This is part 2. Let's keep chit-chatting about Mariah and Carlos King. This interview, we find out that Mariah was to Married to Medicine what Jill Zarin was trying to be to her iteration of Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, meaning that she was the reason all of the girls was getting paid equally. Thus, we didn't have this whole weird Survivor's Island concept feel to the show that exists now. And really lies the plan to push Mariah out of the show. It was the producers, but Mariah said, like, listen, you can't do something if you ain't got no vessel. You can have the idea if you don't have the platform, and the girls that helped push Mariah out were the platform. Mariah did say that the vision for the show that she created in Married to Medicine was always supposed to give affluent minority family. So it was very much supposed to give married women or women who were married to the medicine. So when it comes to Quad, she said that once Quad and Dr. G wasn't together no more, that she would have created a spinoff around Quad, because she also said that she don't feel like that show is bringing out the best in Quad. Like, we are not getting the quadrilla web that we deserve, because she is allowing Bravo to kind of mold her into somebody. Now, that was a little bit me paraphrasing, but you get the vibe. Mariah turned around and said that what Quad is getting on this show currently is less about karma and more about Quad actually getting a taste of her own medicine. Be a taste of her own medicine, because Miss Mariah says she remembers the switch in Quad after the powers that be flew her out to California to tell her, Mariah's trying to hold you back. Mariah's jealous of you. You should be the front runner, not a breakout star. I talk too much, so there's going to be a part 3. Go watch it. Mariah Huck said, I might be extra credit, but I ain't no diva. This is part 3. Let's keep chit-chatting about Mariah and Carlos King. And Carlos King, because he asked the questions that need to be asked. Now, Carlos asked Mariah, do you be missing Quad? And she said, I used to, but not no more, because Quad is really turned into kind of like this diva. That wasn't the girl that I used to know. So, like, yeah, not really too much. She said the only person on that cast who hasn't really changed, like it or love it, is Toya. And y'all know I'm a Toya fan. I see it for Toya every time. I be fighting for my life in the comments for Miss Toya, but baby girl is the one and not the It comes to the physical altercation that Mariah and Quad had in STK. Allegedly. Survey says it never happened. Survey is Mariah. Survey says that Quad threw her pocketbook, and Miss Ma'am, being Mariah, tried to put them paws on Quad, and there was a bunch of people around, and they held her back. Nobody was trying to push that girl Quad up out that show Married to Medicine. What they trying to do is knock her down a peg. What they're trying to do is make sure that she's not on all the episodes, so that she don't get the same check that all the other girls get. Because remember, the pay equality doesn't exist now that Mariah's gone. He was up on there talking for over an hour and 4 seconds, but the part that gagged me is that Mariah said that the dentist is good TV when the dentist isn't reading the comments on social media and trying to be who she thinks the people on social media want her to be. Oh my God. She done called Dr. Simone Whitmore old fence riding Simone. Come back, we'll do part 4, and I promise I'm gonna wrap it up there. Dr. Simone delivers all of Mariah's kids, all of Mariah's sister's kids. Mariah's aunt is Dr. Simone's nanny, but when it was asked if Dr. Simone could be the person to put the nail in Mariah's coffin, Dr. Simone seemed to be unsure if she could do it. Yeah, baby, this is part 4. let's keep chit-chatting. You'll remember when Quad was interviewed by Carlos King, and no, I'm not going to get a visual. Quad said that Simone at one point said to her, like, oh, I want to talk to you, but like, basically, I can't. Mariah says that's a believable story because when it was her, Simone came to her and said, production wants me to be the person to put the nail in your coffin, and I'm just not sure if I could do it. Like, girl, you not what? Again, Mr. Carlos do his job. King has to ask Miss Mariah about the iconic moment where the dentist drew the devil horns on Mariah's picture. Mariah said, yes, I did get my Karen on, to which Carlos King called it the Katrina, okay, the black girl Karen. She said, because, listen, when I come up in there, Mariah says she would bring her own staff. Mariah said she was in there moving furniture, but in the classy way. She was bringing her own furniture. She was bringing her own staff. She was bringing her own food service to the reunions in New York to create a vibe. And then the dentist going to come up in there and drawing her picture. Like, don't touch my stuff, dentist. I said, y'all know me as Mariah Huck. My name is Lakeisha, baby. And I keep me a few bout it ones round me, baby. They was about to go toe to toe. Now, I want to say, Mariah said, listen, now, she would have went up in the dentist's room and cut up her reunion dress. Then she would have been wrong because you go low and I go low. And now I'm the problem. But let me tell you something that would have made my day. And listen, no tea, no shade. If any other housewife or Married to Medicine cast member want to do it, go up in there and cut up a reunion dress while we on break. Go cut you up a reunion. Baby, I'll be tuned.